Hey there, Virgos. Welcome to my channel. We're going to get into a reading for September 2025. Most of my readings tend to focus around the idea of manifestation and what may be getting in the way of you creating what you want to create. So, let's see what we got. Ten of Wands, Eight of Cups, Four of Swords, Nine of Wands, Empress, Seven of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, and the Tower. All right, definitely working through some blockages here. About to have some breakthroughs, but breakthroughs usually require the subsequent breakdown beforehand, because that's really what we're doing when it comes to all of this spiritual awakening, manifestation, divine transformation kind of stuff. Is that you're blasting through your old patterns, these energetic blockages that get built up from uh, usually from traumatic experiences early in life and through the conditioning of the culture that you're embedded in. Society kind of embeds beliefs into you before you're even old enough to know what's going on. You're sometimes you inherit those from your schoolmates. Sometimes most of them come from your parents, and then their parents got them, or your parents got them from their parents, and so on, back to some mysterious past where who knows where it all started. Um, but you're gonna be the one to break the chains of the past. And right now, I think maybe you're experiencing a bit of overload, overwhelm. Whether this is showing up in a material way, like having too much work to do, or feeling like you just have too much on your plate, or if it's just an energetic thing where you have like this, like when a circuit has too much energy in it, like too much electricity, it overheats. It starts to radiate heat, and the same thing can happen with spiritual energy. It can literally feel like almost like burning from the inside. It's like electricity moving across your skin, and it can be very uncomfortable. Um, and typically, when that happens, it's a signal that you're about to release a lot of energy. And I think that's exactly what's probably going to happen here in the near future. And you will come to realize that what you're really experiencing is resistance to a state of peace and rest that you experienced maybe in the recent past. So maybe recently you got yourself into a very relaxed, calm, just chilled out state, feeling very quiet inside, just very peaceful. But then all those unconscious patterns in your mind, the momentum of all those thoughts that you've been sort of conditioned with, and that have been perpetuating themselves for many years probably, they start to fight back. So when you start to feel relaxed, and then the patterns come up, and they're like, "Hey, think about me. You need to be worrying about this and that. Why aren't you worrying about money? You're not supposed to feel this good. You're supposed to be worrying about things and trying to control everything. What are you doing?" And so that, with the tower here in the sort of outcome and advice position, the idea is to just let it happen. Let the emotions flow, let the feelings happen. Because even if it may feel in the moment as if you're just always going to feel this way, that's one of the things that happens a lot of times when you go through these kinds of moments, these tower type moments, is that your mind kind of tries to convince you that, like, it's all over, it's just this is how it's always going to be, things are never going to change, never going to get any better. But that's just the thoughts, the beliefs, the traumas of the past, the thought forms that those traumas create. That's just them trying to perpetuate themselves, trying to convince you of things that are not true. They're literally beliefs. And these beliefs kind of almost, it seems as if they have a mind of their own. They don't actually, but they act, but the way that things play out, it makes it look like they are their own sort of being, but it's actually your energy. It's your conscious energy that's been sectioned off from your awareness, and it kind of fights to keep you believing in certain things. And by creating circumstances that convince you that something is true, but then the only way to break through that is to sort of reverse the process and realize that, and stop letting what's happening to you to inform your beliefs. Instead, realize that your world is formed by your beliefs, not the other way around. Um, and I think that, inherently you really have a deep desire to just be able to just to not have to go out and try to control things so much, not try to have to make things happen. But it gets scary because then there's all this doubt and fear and maybe some self-worth stuff going on where you feel like if you're not working hard and you're not trying to shoulder as much as you possibly can, then you're doing something wrong and things aren't going to work out for you. But deep down, you really want to be able to just have this relaxed, like if you could just allow manifestation to take care of every aspect of your life, that would be great. And that is a possibility, but it's tough to get there because there's so much fear to work through. And we're taught to believe the exact opposite. Everything I'm talking about here runs completely opposite to everything that culture and society teaches you to believe. Because, if we had a society of manifestors, then people who, want to run gigantic multi-billion dollar companies wouldn't really have a lot of workers doing things they don't care about, that they don't want to do, making all the money for a few people at the top. So, I mean, while it may not be like a grand conspiracy, there is an interest in keeping societies from breaking out of these ingrained beliefs and keeping people from really recognizing who and what they are as beings of pure creation. You are the embodiment of change itself, infinite potential, constantly shifting and changing. You have the ability to not only do you have the ability to create your reality, you're always doing it all the time, every single moment. Every person is. But it's just these beliefs that we all get wrapped up in that keep us from uh, being able to actually consciously use your creative ability. Um, so whatever it is you may be feeling now, if you're feeling bogged down, overwhelmed, uh, restless, it will pass. And if you need to allow those emotions that are to flow through you to come out in some way or another, don't fight that. This whole stigma about like crying. Well, I mean, mainly it's the whole idea is like, oh, boys don't cry. And now we wonder why our society is so full of man children. It's because no, we're taught not to process our emotions. It's a little different for women, but I think inherently, to a certain degree, we all kind of resist allowing those more intense emotions to come out because they're uncomfortable. Um, but that is the work, is being able to consciously face your fears and allow these things to process. So I guess overall, the advice from this spread is just let the breakdown happen if you need to. Don't fight it because it's not pointless. It's not just happening for no reason. You're not stuck, even if you may feel stuck or overwhelmed. Things are going to change and shift. But the harder you resist letting those things come out, those emotions come out, not by letting them control you. You don't go out and you don't let these emotions like drive you to go do things that you shouldn't do, but just allowing them to be there, allowing them to flow through you instead of trying to push it away or distract yourself. So, let's see if there's anything else that the cards want to say at the moment. Ten of Swords, okay. Knight of Pentacles. Eight of Swords. Ace of Pentacles. And let's do one more. Queen of Swords. Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to repeat myself too much because this is kind of repeating a lot of what I was just saying. Which, if you notice, if you do a lot of tarot readings, they really do kind of tend to repeat themselves because they're an outline of a particular worldview of the worldview that says that you are the source of your own creation, of your own reality, that each person is, and that we all share this sort of illusion of a consensus reality, making it seem like there's a bunch of people in one universe, but it's actually a whole bunch of universes all working together in one greater bubble. Um, so yeah, tennis. So I mean, I think we already covered it, so there's really no point in reiterating what I've already said here. I repeat myself enough as it is. So, anyways, if you want to get more specific in your own life and in your own situation, I do offer private readings. You can send me an email, and if not, that's fine too. But until next time, take care.